This is the Asia HR Forum 2023.
So, what are the top challenges HR practitioners, us, are first facing these days in the new normal, right? This is a question that has been asked us so many times. So think in your head, or you can share with your seatmate, one or two, okay? But let me just share with you what's the result of the survey that was done in 2020. So these are the top 3 results. First, 60% said HR practitioners feel that they are emotionally exhausted. And I know one of the speakers mentioned this, right? We take care of the organization, but who takes care of us? Usually we are the most exhausted function, right, in the group. And for those who are CHRO, CPO, or heads of HR, who takes care of us, right? We cannot talk to our people for some of the problems. Nobody really to talk to. Our peers, who are also from competitors, you cannot actually say so many things, right? So you have to take care also of yourself, right? So, and then second, overwhelming workload. Well, I've always handled HR, and that's interesting enough already. Now they've added marketing and internal communications as if HR is not enough, right? So for most of us, we're actually wearing more than one hat, right? Okay, either formally or informally. And on top of that, you're heading committees, small tents, etc., just to get more information and resolve some of the corporate issues. So you're actually leading so many groups. And then 51% said employee engagement and retention. And add to that actually is also worry about talent attraction, which is becoming more and more difficult post-pandemic, right? Because there are a lot of realizations among our workforce on the things that they want to do. And there are so many ways now to make money. And you don't necessarily have to be in the B&M or in the brick and mortar. So workforce, different work arrangements are present. So many opportunities are out there. It's becoming more and more challenging to get the right skilled or the right profiles for the business that you have. So I know there are more, but these are the top 3. And while this study was done in 2020, I feel that they are still relevant today. Do you? We still feel exhausted. We still have a lot to do. And we still have, we're still thinking of talent attraction, engagement, and retention. Those are the core HR functions. Now, given this, what are we going to do, right, as HR practitioners? I think that, I propose, at least for me and my group, one of the things that I feel that would really help us in HR would be, we know the hygiene, right? All those things from talent attraction, onboarding to offboarding, those are all hygiene that we can do. But what really can we do differently to make it easier for us and the organization? And I think that strategic partnership and strategic collaboration is really the key. Because 1, we don't have all the ideas. And 2, do we have really the time to think of all the ideas? And 3, especially for an organization like ours, where we are scattered across the Philippines, and I'm sure that for some of you here, you are in the same boat. You are located in many locations or many sites. So how are you going to make sure that your associates are all still engaged? It's not top-down, right, as in traditional setups. So how are you going to do that? It's really strategic partnership and collaboration. And to really spread the work of HR. It doesn't have to be only HR doing HR, because actually all leaders are HR leaders, right? And that is something that we really have to inculcate among our leaders. Managing our people, it's not just our job, it's the leader's job. but we facilitate, we can empower, and we can equip. Let's move. All right. So at Foundever, we do, as I've said, we do strategic partnership, we do other things. But I know that some of you may not know what is Foundever, what was lost and what was found. But what is it? Well, it used to be called Cytel, okay? And then we acquired Sites. But you know, those names are not anymore true, especially in context of what we want to do and how we want to be in the future. So we came up with a name that doesn't really mean anything, but except for us, because we have founders that are very dynamic, okay, and always looking at new horizons, new opportunities, and ever changing, right? So we are a very dynamic organization. I guess more or less that's how we came up with that name. So let's run the video. Okay, so that's just a snapshot of what Foundever is. And our EVP, and I know Mark earlier shared their EVP in RELEX, okay, which is valuing what matters. In our case, our EVP is really create your best moment. It can be small moment, big moment, but you have to create your best moments. And later on in my sharing, you will see why it's your, right? Because again, it's not HR, it's not our CEO who will create those, it's us associates who will create our best moment. So create, empowered to create, okay? Empowering our people, what matters to them, to the associate, so that it will be relevant. And then best is peak mindset, okay? So we have different best because it depends on the peak mindset. And of course, moments will be small or big, doesn't matter. You really just have to celebrate it, each of those moments. So what are the components or drivers of this Create Your Best Moment EVP? So we have 4. We have growth, well-being, belongingness or belonging, and then of course, purpose. I think that these are common themes amongst all of us. But how do we embody, how do we give life to each is what makes us different, okay? So when it comes to growth, you know, we have and I'll go back to the previous slide later on, but I just want you to show you the demographics. We are a very young organization. My generation is actually 0.0 whatever, okay? But it's really a very young organization. We have the new age talents, which is about, it's not here, but the new age talents is about 23% or something. So that would be your Gen Z. And our Gen Y is also a big component of our organization. It's a young organization. That's why I love it. That's why I'm there. Okay, so I would always look young. Okay, feel young, right? But this is our demographics is also important to note when we talk about the other components of our EVP, especially on the belongingness and on the actually well-being and everything actually, right? Because we are a multi-generational organization. So, and we know each generation has different needs, wants different things. And therefore, how do we respond to that? And when we know that, like what Mark said earlier, we don't have unlimited resources, right? So how do you address those needs that cut across or maybe interesting across the generations, but still addressing each of the needs of these generations, from Gen Z, the new age, to the Gen Y, the Gen X, and even us, baby boomers. Okay. Now, if we go back to the previous slide, Lena, thank you. All right. So when we talk about growth, all of us are after growth, right? I mean, you shouldn't be in the business if you're not after growth. Okay. But how do we fuel that is something that we in HR have to be, is a big part of, right? We have to fuel our pipeline, okay, our talent pipeline. We always have to, have the right skill set, the right talents at the right time, right? And then when we talk about, and if we are, I know somebody will talk about future of work. So what's the future you're looking at? Okay, what kind of businesses you're looking at? HR has to make sure that the organization is ready for those changes. It's ready for those skill sets. So we have to prepare our talents, our current talents, to embrace those future businesses that we're looking at. If you are, for example, wanting to get into a new vertical, okay, how do you make sure that you have the right pool to, power that vertical? Well-being, so many of the speakers today have mentioned already about well-being. And later on, I will show you what our take on well-being. But definitely, I am one with you. We always have to talk about the whole person, not just the physical and mental or whatnot, but it's really the whole person, because you need that whole person as a productive person in your organization. And then belongingness. All of us, right? This is a key word now, but what does that really mean for us, at least in Foundever? Is it just DEI? Is it just being part of the employee resource group or being part of the Pride Month? What is it? And then, of course, purpose, especially for our Gen Z talents, right? This is very critical. They look at the company, their website. What do you do? What are you doing for the community, for the people? They think differently. I just, when I talk to my Gen Z daughter, she understands more than I do. And I cannot sometimes cope with what she is saying. And that's really how our talents are thinking. And therefore, you really have to amplify the things that we are doing that would resonate with the Gen Z, because those are the future, our future workers and our future leaders. And we can start our relationship with them from the time, they're still studying, so that hopefully they'll be wanting to join us later on. So purpose is important, even to us baby boomers. I mean, I cannot work for a company whose purpose does not resonate or match my values, right? So that's always important. Okay, so let's move, Lena, thank you. So let's skip that. This is one way that it's like a CSR, but it's also one way that we make sure we fuel our talent pipeline. And we're very proud of this. This is an award winning program also from other bodies. And it's really helping the community. I won't go through all the programs, but it's really preparing people for the roles and making sure that we are equipping them not just with the hard skills, but also soft skills. So we are investing in the community, whether or not they join us or not. That's fine, as long as we're able to help the communities we are in. And if you go to the next slide, that is, we call that Language Academy. It used to be called Cital Academy, and that is really part of the growth. Now going to the well-being, okay, this is what I was sharing, this is what I mentioned earlier, that this is our take on well-being. We have to address the whole person. We have to have a holistic approach. And we have the move well, okay, that's on the physical. We have the eat well, okay, emotional, mental, so that's on the live well, and what we call the do well. So it's all well, right? But it's really making sure that our people their well-being is being addressed through this, as well as our total rewards, okay? somebody mentioned about benefits earlier. My total rewards lead is here. So she, I think that we have one of the best offerings for health in our industry, and we do not discriminate. Okay, since we also hire senior citizens, so we have about 98 who are really seniors, as in, you know, and we have even 24 out of them. So some are already retired and ready for the next, for a second win in their retirement, right? So we don't discriminate. We also have, as most of you are, you know, we have an active LGBTQ plus, so definitely we also allow them to enjoy the benefits. So this, all these things are transcend, you know, the age, race, etc. Another cool thing that I'd like to share, and which even helps me a lot, is we partner globally with an app. Because we have to be digital, right? And we are across. So we partnered with United Heroes. I don't know if you've heard of it. So every week, for myself, for example, every week I join challenges. So when I join challenges, and it's really just to encourage me to move, right? Even when I'm busy, okay, I have to stand, do some stretching for 10 minutes because I signed up for a challenge of 10 minutes stretching. So physical is my cardio, my running, and then I have my soft, which is on the mind, and you know, I enroll in yoga. I take up challenges on yoga, meditation, just to balance myself for the week. And I think that is helpful. And of course, you know, since we have young people, they're very competitive. Site to site, they're also competing. But of course, it's a healthy competition, but it's really more to increase the health index, good health index of the employees. Okay, next is the belongingness, right? I think many speakers have mentioned it. Experience is key. Employee experience is everything, right? And my HR team or marketing, we're passionate about that, on employee experience, because every decision that we make, how does that contribute to the employee experience? And is that even, you know, is that positively impacting employee experience? If it's not, why are we even doing it? Or why can't we do it differently? Okay, so experience is everything. We have what we call our My Associate Experience, or MAX, in Foundever. And really, this is where we harness the abilities of our people up to the agent level. And we use design thinking. My OD lead is here, Hero, and we come up with ways on how to do design thinking, and also the FGDs and all that. All those communication channels, all the information have to be put together and determine what are we going to do to make the programs really resonate and respond to the requests and the requirements of the employees. So, because we believe that the associate experience is customer experience. If you have a happy associate, definitely they'll be able to deliver good service. And of course, belongingness. So we have our ERGs, our Employee Resource Group, LGBTQ plus IA, women, soon disability. But we also have our circles, which is our groups of like-minded people, you know. But more than those groups, belongingness really is about having a safe environment. And so it's a whole gamut of policies already, right? So it's about belongingness because the person has to be able to go to the office, work, and know that it will be a good day and that they will not be discriminated upon. They will be, you know, nothing will be imposed on them, okay? Except of course certain policies. But they can really, you know, go to the organization and bring their whole self, okay? And what's also key in the belongingness in this program is that the traditional setup is HR will do these programs, right? In our group, in our company, we don't do that anymore. We provide the infrastructure, yes. But it's really the accounts, the departments, the organization, or the people who will do this through the max infrastructure. They can co-create or co-design their adventures or their engagement, okay? Because so that it would resonate with them, right? They would enjoy it. So it's not HR racking a brain to come up with programs. It has to come from the people, okay? So, and then of course, another thing that we really found out to be true and helpful is that it should be leader-led, okay? Leaders have to be part of it. Our COO is our engagement sponsor. And definitely the leaders, it's part of their scorecards, okay, that they have to have, the engagement is part of it, the KPIs. And then next is, of course, in the purpose, purpose is our CSR, etc. I've already mentioned that. But one way that we also measure the success of whatever programs we're doing is, of course, through our Glassdoor, okay? We also look at Indeed and other job street locally, right? But we feel that, so we're also doing well in, you might think, why is she showing only GD? Well, we're also doing well in Indeed and job street, but we just really wanted, because GD is more, has better recall, right? And so we are meeting our goal. Of course, our competitors, some are even higher, and it's a constant journey for HR and the whole organization to keep beating our achievement. Okay, next. So as we go through all this, what we always say is that it's all about the adventure. Scott mentioned earlier, HR is not a very fun function. Well, I beg to differ. I think that we can make it fun, right? We just have to think of it as all an adventure. And it has to be that way also for our folks. And that's why I think that since we started this, more people from the operations and other functions are wanting to be part of HR. And it's really because how you package things. So it's all about the adventure, enjoy it. And let me end my talk with these things. So to be brave in facing the future, right? We have to be brave for our people. They have the courage to continue to break barriers from traditional HR. It cannot be that way anymore. It has to be strategic partnership, strategic collaboration, think out of the box, empower the future of workforce, set up the infra, but make sure that we are getting everybody a part of it so that we will really know how to chart our strategies. Accelerate by challenging the status quo. HR cannot be silent. I know very few raised their hands earlier. Not many want to admit they're HR practitioners, but we have to challenge the status quo, guys. We have to transform the HR approach. It cannot be how it used to be. Otherwise, we'll become dinosaurs, right? And that's not how we want HR to be, because HR, it has to have a seat in the table. And we have to be partners to the business, because people is really the business. It's not making money, it's the people, right, that drives it. And remembering that key to becoming brave is being human. I hope that you will enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Thank you so much.